right. Welcome. Welcome to the Rocket Launcher Podcast. This is episode 182. I am your host, Supreme King. Join with me, as always, is my co-host, and his name is...
It's your guy Amazes.
Man, you was extra loud in my ear. That's all right.
Oh, my bad.
Let me see.
I can whisper.
No, you don't need to whisper.
No, maybe I'll just whisper.
But
Don't tell me what to do.
Well, we had an interesting week or two in the gaming world. Last week I think was the July 4th weekend. You wanted to take some time off. That was fine.
Yeah.
The video game world exploded at the same time. I think there was like a part of me still wanted to talk about all the stuff right away, but I actually took some time to watch a lot of different videos on the obvious topic. And it seemed like the first time in a while there was a lot of people who were unanimous with their point of view. But without further ado, I guess we could talk about let's start off with the PlayStation news. Very interesting news. Ratchet and Clank A Rift Apart is on the screen. Old footage for me at this point, but I think it's a little fitting. I would like to start off by saying I got this game initially, if I'm not mistaken, I got it from the library as a rental. Now this game is normally a $70 purchase. I got it from a rental as a rental from my public library. I know there was plenty of times where I've talked about how you can utilize the public library for a very specific thing, and that is renting a game that was on disc. I actually played this game from start to finish from the library, and I think I had access to this for about 2 weeks. I played the game to its completion. I've had, negative and positive things to say, more negative than positive because of the glitches and stuff that I experienced to say about it. But I played the game to its completion, and I also got all the trophies for this title, right? And I simply gave the game back to the library. Now, does that make me part of the problem? I mean, that's debatable. But not too much longer, I want to say within the same year, I went to a Walmart, and this was actually funny enough. It's funny because how all this stuff comes together. This was around the time retailers had initially announced that they were going to stop hosting Blu-rays and DVD movies in the store. I don't know if you remember that, but they said they were going to stop doing it at one point. I think they quietly walked that back, because to this day, a few years later, I can go into the a Walmart or something, and I can see a bunch of DVDs and movies, right? But initially they said that they had was going to get rid of their disc. In the process of that, they ended up having a bunch of games on clearance, and it was so bizarre to me, but I ended up seeing Ratchet and Clank, which is this game here, on clearance for literally $5. I had already platinumed the game. I already beat it. Never actually went back to it, but I did actually decide to just pick the game up anyway, simply because it was $5. So I experienced this whole thing for $5 basically, in total, and then I also got access to it from the library. I haven't actually gone to the library in a long time to rent games or anything, but I could imagine as stuff comes out, they probably would have had their version of it to rent out or whatever. Um, but ultimately, from the perspective of PlayStation, money was taken out of their pocket. Probably $65 worth altogether, right? Maybe double if they look at it as me playing it twice or something. Um, but from my perspective, I caught a deal and I just played a game. It was just a regular game. It was a game for what I think a lot of games should be priced at, really. Because I never thought that a game should be, an arm and a leg or whatever. But at the end of the day, I have ownership of this title. The title has served me more than it served PlayStation, because not only have I, played the game for $5, I have plenty of footage, plenty of videos that I've made where technically I can monetize these videos if I ever get the channel to a certain point, right? And then this isn't even my last of the footage that I have from a game where I think in the footage it said that I was playing this in 2022. So am I part of the problem? Maybe. But at the end of the day, I think the biggest thing is, if you buy something, you should have the right to use it the way you want. Right? I think that's the overall thing. The thing is choice. You should have the choice to do what you want with what you buy, and you should have the ability to make the choice to sell it if you want, monetize however you want with your product. People do it with so many different things. People buy a bunch of stuff and run a business off of it, right? And maybe it hurts their bottom line a little bit, but as a consumer, you should still have that right. And I guess everyone else is in agreement with that you should have the right to do with whatever you want with your purchase. And it seems like, so I wanted to lay the groundwork there. I am going to return back to Walmart as far as the topic in a second, but it basically, and this is way long-winded, but the overall news was that PlayStation announced that, or Sony, however you want to look at it, they announced that on their side of the platform, they are discontinuing all physical titles January 2028. And so that set the world on fire. I was talking for about 8 minutes. Let me hear from your side real quick. What's going on?
So I think this move is pure trash. Honestly. So it's a couple things. One, I know there are a chunk of people that's like, that's it, I'm moving away from PlayStation, right? And usually moving away from PlayStation means going to PC. So I saw this argument that was like, well, PC is not physical either. Those are digital games. So like, what argument are you trying to make? And the thing is if PlayStation does things where it's just digital, right, and they're moving away from physical, then they control the monopoly of the price of stuff, right? Like at best you can buy it from the PlayStation Store, or maybe CD keys, right, if it works out. Whereas for a lot of PC games, you got Steam, Epic, GOG, etc. And all the constant prices. Also, what I don't like is PlayStation just announced, hey, in September, we lost this random license, so we're going into your libraries and pulling TV shows and movies that you bought again. We did this before with Discovery. We're going to do it again with this other company because we lost our license on our own. It had nothing to do with you, but we lost the license. And because you didn't read through the paragraphs of the agreement, you didn't realize we can go in and take it. all right, now we're gonna get rid of physical and everything's gonna be digital. I don't trust you. Like, what if you lose a music license? So boom, the game's gone now. Right? Like they take there. It's a dumb move to make, and again, is holding this monopoly on the cost. I just looked. So WWE 2K26, right? The base edition is $70. Let's say instead you wanted to go play WWE 2K25, because they always like to remove certain wrestlers. So if you want that wrestler in the game and you wanted to go play 2K25 and you had to buy it on the PlayStation storefront, you know how much it cost? $70. Let's say instead you wanted to play WWE 2K22, go all the way back, the one that was released in 2021, I believe. Right, you want to go play 2K22 because you wanted to be Keith Lee and a bunch of other wrestlers, specifically on the WWE game. You want to go buy that on the PS Store. It cost $60. Let's also not forget PlayStation announced they were doing dynamic pricing stuff where certain things can cost the same or maybe slightly less. They didn't say more, but they didn't not say it. But they think they can control the price based off of what they think you would like. So instead of how many times you're on Steam, you have a wish list of a wide variety of games. And you're like, hey, this thing's $2. Let me just go ahead and check it out. And who knows? Then you end up unlocking a genre that you didn't even realize you liked. For a while ago, you didn't like turn-based games until you started playing Persona. You're like, all right, it's fine. Now you don't immediately turn away from a turn-based game. I'm not the biggest fan of first-person shooters, but I've played a few where it's like being an FPS is not going to make me just turn away from it, where that was a thing when I was a kid. If it was an FPS, I just didn't play it, right? But if the prices are lower, you have more of an opportunity to maybe I'll try this out, where if PlayStation decides, I don't think you play these type of games, so they're always going to be full priced for you. It's a dumb, and you can't tell me we have to make all these decisions because we hurting for money. Well, how much does your CEO make? Right? Like, if they're still making that much money, then you're not hurting for cash. Like, that's not, you can't tell me you're hurting for cash if not everyone's losing profit. Right? When these real businesses out here, these restaurants be hurting for cash, they're in debt. They're like, we owe this much, and if we don't start making money, we're going to have to close down. They're not out here making millions of dollars and saying, oh my God, I can't pay my workers because we're going to get shut down. So it's to me, this is weird move, and unfortunately, there's people protesting it and things like that, the best way that they can. A lot of people have canceled their PS accounts or whatever. Like, they turned off PS Plus, deleted a bunch of things like that. And there's other people though that are just going to be like, well, I only buy digital anyway, so I don't care. Or they'll actually fight against you. I only buy digital, so why are you mad? And it's like, this ain't got nothing to do with you then, right? And then again, with the preservation, they remove games. Games leave the storefront. For whatever reason, you should still be able to play the worst games if you wanted to. But you can't if everything's digital and they just decide gone. Or if they decide they want to do a remaster. Let's say, for example, with Persona 4 GOG getting the remaster coming out. If you preferred the old design for Persona 4 Gold, and if you really liked that design, PlayStation can just remove the old one like they did with the Grand Theft Auto stuff, and then now that's it. You just don't get to have it. It's removed because you got to follow what they say, not the way you want to play, even though you're the consumer. There was also that issue where I think they just announced there's a secret update that people didn't realize that says if you don't log into your PlayStation Network account for 3 years, I know it seems like a long time, but if you're really doing other stuff, right, you may not log on. There's sometimes people just go, hey, I want to go back to this retro system. There's people who occasionally turn on an N64 every once in a while, but they're it might be a really long time until they do. But they said that if you don't turn on your PlayStation Network account or log in or whatever in 3 years, they can send you an email pretty much giving you another small time limit, and then they can just delete your account permanently. And it's just gone forever, and you lose access to anything you bought digital because it's all tied to that specific account. So then if you just waited 5 years and you're cleaning, you dust off the old PS6, and you're like, oh, let's check out some games, and you turn it on, all gone. All of it's gone because you didn't log on. So you just lost access. If I open up an old box and find some DVDs, I got some DVDs. But if you open up an old system, all of a sudden all your stuff is gone because now it's all digital. Again, they're also not lowering the price. You up price, and now you're deleting discs. They also there's a lot of issues. They pre-announced that they refuse to take a loss on consoles anymore, so they pre-announced that the PS6 is going to be $1,500 to $2,000 basically, without actually saying it out loud. It's just this weird. They keep making moves that are just like, well, we made you upset before, but wait till you see what we can do next.
Okay, so to go back to one thing I think you mentioned, I think the PS Plus cancellations apparently was over 500,000, which is significant. That does seem like a lot, where people were just pretty much leaving the platform a little bit sooner than what I would have expected. There, there's so many different things I could probably go on to, but the Sony president and CEO, Hiroki, I don't know how to pronounce his last name. He wasn't the only one though. Like, I think it came out that a bunch of them all sold their stocks, which I thought was kind of interesting. Because I'm like, is that an insider thing or what? I was like, I don't know, but like the second that they saw people revolting. I think first the CEO has sold over half of his company shares, which was actually 225,000 shares, which was like $4.73 million worth of shares, which is crazy to think, because if I sell shares of something, it ain't really nowhere near that amount, but it's very telling if, you know, the heads of the tables are jumping ship before the ship crashes. But if they do that sets the tone overall. That lets you know they don't believe in the vision of what they're pushing themselves. Because if they're the ones saying, you know, we're not selling our systems at a loss anymore, but then they do that, then they know that it's not going to work anyway. Which is a interesting thing. It is interesting that it has caused a lot of people to read the fine print on all this stuff and to see something like that.
Which is, I mean, that's a good thing. It's sad that that's what it took, or like that it had to come to this. Like you should, I don't know. I feel like if you're signing a random, like, you know, business contract, like a bunch of other kind of things, you're signing up for a credit card, something like that, you should be careful in reading, like, everything that's going on. I don't feel like it should feel that sneaky in games. Yes, there's like a business transaction that you're going through, right? You're signing up for a service, all this other stuff. But I don't know. I just feel like you shouldn't feel like you need to go get like a lawyer just in case when it comes to just a fun hobby. Like, that's what this was supposed to be. It's supposed to be something to make you like chill, calm down, have fun with. It shouldn't be all of this extra with it. And it just, again, when you start throwing people who don't game and only care about money in charge of this stuff, it messes with the consumer. It just turned this hobby way more into business.
It's some stuff was kind of funny, but I found out that Sony was limiting the PS5 disc drive to being sold to like one person at a time, or one. You can only buy it once at a time, I guess, if you're going through them to buy it. Because I guess it surged overnight where a bunch of people was trying to buy the disc drives. That to me was kind of silly. There was new reports saying that they were looking to also announce that they were going to increase the price of PS Plus, but was just kind of waiting till things died down. And then with the cancellations, I guess they were giving people up to half off to come back or whatever. That was a thing. I don't know if that was working.
Why wait till things die down? Announce it now while people's already mad at you, instead of going when people start maybe forgiving you, then all of a sudden you're like, all right, now that we're cool, here's this other thing to upset. Like, do you want to be the villain all year, or do you want people to be like, these few months was really bad?
No, they gotta wait, man. I think the part that was funny to me was that there was reports saying that they wanted to wait until Xbox announces their layoffs to like say the next thing. And the biggest part, now this part I ain't gonna hold you up, it kind of made me laugh when I saw how the internet reacted to this, but so they announced initially the digital only 2028 future, right? And then they kind of at that point went dark. They didn't say anything else for about 6 days apparently. And so the internet is on every post, you know, saying physical games this, physical games that, disliking every video. But I guess on Twitter they didn't say anything for about 6 days, and then lo and behold, they just appeared out of nowhere. They waited to the Xbox thing, just like people were saying, and then they kind of came out of nowhere and was like, here's our fight stick. And that made me laugh because the people were so hot. But they came out of nowhere with that fight stick that they had mentioned a while back, which is like, here's the fight stick, and then casually started to just talk about other things throughout the day.
My favorite thing is when they randomly did pop back up, it was like, check out this trailer. Every single post they make gets a community note that's tagged to it. So this is people on Twitter. Basically much like, you can be like, if somebody posts something, it's like, they're usually like just seeking attention, like don't fall for this, or clearly this is a joke, relax, blah, blah, blah. Like they can help explain context of what's going on. And every single post that PlayStation does, there's a note that says, important information on consumer rights. Sony is currently attempting to establish a digital monopoly by eliminating physical media, and as a result, free competition in the distribution of PS video games, providing users with non-transferable, revocable licenses instead. And some people also added the fact that as they're doing this, this is exactly what Microsoft just got sued for when they were trying to buy up everything. And they had to do the proving that it was still going to go everywhere, because it was trying to say you're trying to hold this monopoly. Instantly sued, and now immediately PlayStation's doing it. But on every single post they make, that community notes tag is like, we're not letting this just die down because you want to talk about other stuff. We're gonna keep breaking it up. And it's crazy because they just disappeared, and then randomly I just saw a trailer. It was like, you ready for what's that game? The like Echoes of Ankred for the Sword Art Online. Like randomly it was just like, here's this thing for Sword Art Online, and then it's just community note PlayStation bad basically.
Yeah,
and then it's just been on all their posts.
The lawsuits are kind of interesting. They had so PlayStation already had some lawsuits, I guess, around the PSN store, but more things are starting to get lawsuits. I think last week I was going to mention some of the major companies that have the RAM that they're making. They're getting sued now as well over the RAM monopoly. And I know I said before, maybe I'm the one that's ignorant, but don't these people go to work every day? How we have a shortage? That was what I was saying. And I know, because I can get defiant over certain things too, but I might have been spot on, because what we had heard it was Samsung and somebody named Micron and some other name I can't really pronounce. It was a few of them, where the lawsuit was basically saying these companies got together because they allegedly fixed the supply and the pricing of memory so that they could just get this major profit because of the whole AI thing, the AI boom. There could still, because this was my thought process when I had said what I said before. I was like, yeah, there could still be an AI boom, but I don't understand how there's a shortage. If you could come out of nowhere and make all these data centers in the middle of the desert, in the middle of the ocean, you can put a data center everywhere, but you can't put a factory together and just have the people make it. If that's the case, like, how do you have a shortage? This sounds like a big opportunity to create jobs for people to just simply make the AI, if that's the case. And And then lo and behold, it was just coming out that these RAM companies were being sued for this.
Ooh.
And it's just kind of it's an interesting thing because I mean it kind of does go without saying, if there is a demand for something, I mean there's so many people in this world to come together to create the thing. How are we not able to just do it? That was just my thought process, and I guess somebody said the same thing, and they had put together that lawsuit. And so, yeah, that was all over the whole RAM monopoly, and then that was what was causing all of this other stuff anyway. But I mean, the companies just they're never gonna get ahead, and I'm gonna get to that in a second. I just want to mention one other thing that I think is very ironic. At one point, Sony was trying so desperately to latch onto the momentum of GTA that they actually had changed their app to have the background of what Vice City was at one point, and was coming out with this like slogan that they made where they were saying GTA 6 is going to play better on PS5. And it was just like a thing, and they were just posting it everywhere. And I was just like, what? Like, what does that even mean? But GTA, or I guess Rockstar, in the middle of this had pretty much told them to stop all of that because they did not even want their name associated with PlayStation at the moment because of how negative the backlash is for PlayStation. Yep. It's ironic because, well, GTA was one of the main games that's relevant that mentioned that they were going to have, all digital. Well, their physical box is going to have a digital code in it, and that's the closest thing. There's no disc to that either.
Real quick, yeah. On Twitter too, like if you go to PlayStation's page, their pinned thing is Grand Theft Auto.
Yeah.
Right? And readers added a community note, like added context. Rockstar is not releasing GTA 6 on physical disc. The physical version is just a code for the digital version of the game. This is important as via PlayStation's EULA, you are not guaranteed to keep the game after purchase, and it could get taken away at any point. Like, they are putting this on everything to let you know, like, this is what it means for digital, is they can just take it. Especially because PlayStation, again, has just proven they can take it. I'm sure it's happened, but I haven't heard of the most recent case of Steam or Epic going into your library to go, ours now. GOG makes it a point of constantly going, you buy it, it's yours. Like, they heavily say that on their stuff. And as meanwhile, PlayStation was like, you bought this movie? Not anymore. So I was like, you can't announce that and then announce digital. And you got everybody reading the fine print now. And it turns out your little fine print is on every digital thing that you do. And then you're like, get ready for this next thing, digital. And everybody's like, hey, they can just take it away. Like, they can just take it away now.
I don't understand that either, though. I'm like, what business does it matter? So the movie thing, like the rights, like them losing rights to sell it, shouldn't have anything to do with you having it in your library. It just seems so
exactly.
Odd to me.
There's times where games are delisted from the PlayStation Store, but if you had already bought it, it's just in your library. You can always download it again. So I don't understand why they're like, we don't have a contract with this guy, whatever, so you lose access to it, or we lost our contract with Discovery, so now you don't get to have a Discovery library and everything. And it's just like, I can see if it's like, it was a streaming service, and it was like, we don't have the streaming service anymore, because again, it's the streaming service. But to say, we're just going to pull this from you, and it's like, well, I spent whatever money on that, and it's like, yeah, it's gone. It's so dumb to me. Like, that doesn't make any sense. I don't get why they get a right to do that. It's just, it's in the EULA.
Yeah, that always seemed odd to me. I don't know why people buy movies to begin with. It's like, did I teach y'all anything? But but still, yeah, that just seems...
Can you imagine getting a knock on your door, and then some like dudes in some suits are just like, excuse me, do you own a PS3? And you're like, yeah. And it's like, sorry, we work for Sony. We lost contract. So they just walk in and take your disc. They just walk in, grab the case, and be like, all right, have a good day, and just leave.
Yeah, it just seems silly, but I want to break this down in a certain way. Doom: The Dark Ages is on the screen. We'll get to Xbox, I guess, in a second, but there's just one thing I feel like I need to mention. I always mention this every now and then, but I wish this next 2 minutes could be given to some corporate America person. But it would revolutionize gaming. But what I'm about to say is just simply this. This is what they need to understand. Because I know where it stems from, but I'll break it down like this to start off by saying there is no genuine profit in gaming. It's just not. They're never going to see the profit that they're trying to see. There are anomalies. The most recent one is Expedition 33, where you can get a small group to come out of nowhere, throw out a product, and everyone likes it, and it blows up and becomes one of the biggest things for a year. Sure. But the overall, you are not turning a profit. For them to say like we're no longer selling at a loss, they are trying to recoup money. They told on themselves with that. They are still trying to recoup money going as far back as the PS3. Everybody didn't buy the thing for $600. We mocked them when it was $600. Then they finally dropped it. They came out with another model, took the PS2 stuff out of it, and made it a $300 model, a little bit more sleeker, and it looked better and it was more appealing. And then they kind of got back on their feet in the PS3 generation. But that generation, the PS4 generation, you had a whole bunch of systems being sold, but when you looked at the games, it was like a third of the games per, the ratio was like maybe 30 million at most for some of the biggest titles. But it was just like, that's just a thing they have to understand. You're not going to turn a profit no matter what you do, because even when they increase the price of all the systems, there's a cost to that. It's not that, oh, we're going to get the profit this way. It was like, oh, we're going to get less people to buy into it. So it still balances itself right back out. You know what I mean? Or if you just decide, well, we'll increase it 1 or 2 more times, or it's just going to be like that much more people, less people buying it. So it still balances itself out. It's like you're not going to get past a certain level. For every $1 million executive who came out of nowhere, who has no idea what the game is, they probably don't know the name of the titles, they're just concerned with the number and trying to turn some sort of profit, they're not going to do it. It's impossible. It is not, gaming is not the place where you can do it. I don't know where they thought that was, because they came out of the gate thinking they was going to do it. They showed you the NFT stuff. Here was all the loot boxes and stuff. They assumed that because people did it under mobile, that they was going to do it under a straight console. It's like, it don't work that way. Even with the handheld gaming PCs and stuff, it's like those things sell like 2 or 3 million basically. It's not going to do 100 million. It's like 100 million people is not going to buy $1,000 handheld. It's just not going to happen. It's just so silly when you think about, like, it sounds silly. Like if you was to just go up to a random person and be like, this thing costs $1,000, they'll look at you like you crazy. Like it's not even going to make them want it more. It's just going to look at you like, did you really spend that much on that? You know what I mean? It's kind of goofy. And then on top of it, making it an obstacle course just to get some of the stuff. Like in the very beginning of the generation, they spent, the first 2 years making it to where you basically would have had to quit your job and sit on the computer the entire time to hope that it went live. And then if it did, you still had to fight a computer in order to buy it. because it was going to end up on eBay or something. This was the silliest generation I think I've ever seen. Some stuff didn't bother me as much as others, but I honestly had an issue with PlayStation since the very beginning of this generation, because even with a disc where you own the product, they still sat there with a straight face and told you, yes, you have the PS5, yes, you have the discs, but you can't play the PS5 version until you buy an upgrade. I'm like, let me get this straight. I own the game, I own the system, but I still got to buy a $10 upgrade or a $30 upgrade for Ghost of Tsushima, which really set me off. And they when they did that pushed me away from the platform like way early before all of this, because even with you owning a disc version of the game, they were still trying to nickel and dime me any little way that they could to try to turn a profit. And at that time, it still didn't work. That's the thing. They did that didn't work. They did all this stuff. It's still not working. It's like, you guys got to understand, you are not going to turn the profit that you are looking for. You know what I'm saying? It's like if a game wins an award from an award show for one night, that might be the best that game does. You know, it's just kind of silly. The game systems or the like Xbox, for example, like closing all the studios now, and everybody's upset with them on that now. It's like, well, I don't know what they expected from these studios like last year or the year before. It was like they were gonna do what they were gonna do regardless. Anybody who comes out with a game right now and they're trying to get it away from the release of GTA, understand, even if GTA comes out in November, people are still going to choose to buy GTA in February, even though you hid your game, you know, in February, other than November. It's like, you know, people had the money for the titles at different points. They don't have it immediately day one. Like they got to understand, certain products are just going to be better than your product. It doesn't even have to be in gaming. When you start talking about $1,000 for you know, a game, well, maybe somebody got to pay for their transmission before they bought a system. Maybe somebody has to pay for the repairs of you know, plumbing or electrical problems or stuff, because now you're in that category, and all of that stuff is going to come before that. I'm not going to buy a $1,000 game when I have $1,000 worth of repairs on my roof of my house. It's like, let's really be honest here, because you've cut out the kids. When you buy a system for $1,000, or when you set the price for $1,000, the kids are gone. There are no more kids. There are no more parents at that point. There are no more people who depend on one income. You are only with the luxury and stuff. And now, like, for me, for example, if I wanted a Steam machine, that's one thing, but I might buy, you know, a vacation somewhere. I might go fly out somewhere before I actually buy the machine. That might be more valuable to me. But you set the price is the same. It's either $1,000 to Disney World or $1,000 for the Steam machine. Maybe I might choose Disney World. You know what I mean? Like, you might choose repairs on your car. I got a repair on my car I got to do, you know, coming up. I might, you know, if they tell me, oh, you are now quote unquote selected to buy this thing now, it's like, well, now you waited until I need to, you know, repair my car. I don't have time for this now. You know, when people buy things, they buy it on their time and their dime. You know, the industry in general has really been doing some silly things. Cause like I said before, if I had the money, like I had the money for the Steam machine, and they're simply telling me, oh, you know, you're on a waiting list for this now. It's like, well, when you're doing these type of things, then of course you're not going to turn a profit. You know, PlayStation was the same way with the PS5 at one point. It was like, oh, it's not available right now. You gotta be the first 500 to get it on like, this week or something, and then we'll give it to you and stuff. It's like, well, you guys just did not turn a profit for the first half of the generation because you did that crap. You didn't put the game system in the store. Then when you finally put it in the store, lo and behold, don't nobody want it no more. You didn't raise the price on it. And the thing about it too, the games are not coming out that quick. And honestly, GTA getting away with this is one thing because GTA is GTA. A PlayStation exclusive is not on that same level. Like, I'm not, I wasn't too fond, I'm gonna be honest, I wasn't too fond of Kratos' baby mama game as it was. But like this makes that game look way worse to me. It's like,
well, as a side note though, that is coming out in 2027 because they announced that LaFay will have a physical disc.
But the problem, see, here's the thing though. I need the PlayStation fans who are serious. If you are actually serious about this disc versus digital thing, you actually need to starve PlayStation out right now. And the thing is, I am one of those people who still would play the Baby Mama game and Wolverine and a few others, I guess. But the way to protest PlayStation isn't, oh, I'll buy it if it's physical versus digital. The way to protest PlayStation is to say this basically. They tell you that when we hit 2028, it's going to be digital only. Your response needs to be, I'm not going to let you even make it to 2028. That's the response that you should have for the internet out there who's trying to protest. You starve them out now. When you think about the average person who would lose their job, right? We're talking about a lot of game, everybody being laid off like every month, right? When you think about it, for the average person, when they don't have an income coming in, it's like, how long does it take for them to go under? It's a scary thing for the average human being to really think about it. Some people can't last more than 3 weeks, right? 3 weeks, that person is gone. They're under. They're facing foreclosures, right? You're facing being evicted. You have everything turned off. Those type of things. 3 weeks, right? For the average person. 1 to 2 months at most, usually for like 70-80% of Americans. 2028 is a while out. You have the whole 2027, and then you have 2028. We got about half of 2026. If you are serious about PlayStation changing their tune, you have to starve them out now. You have to sacrifice Wolverine, the Baby Mama with the Jello in the sword game, whatever that was. You got to starve them out now. You can't give them $70-$80 for any of these products. The people who went and actually was canceling the PS Plus and stuff, they're the closest ones to doing it. But even when you cancel it, if it tells you got like 5 months left or whatever it is, you actually have to not utilize that as well. You have to not actually save those games every month going for. You have to starve them out. That is the only way it's going to work. That's literally the only way it's going to work. They will change their tune when the revenue just stops completely. Right now, they're saying whatever we can get from you right now before we actually have the crash, that's what we're going to get from you. When they say things like, we're not taking a loss no more, and you're not getting a physical game no more, and we heard what you said, but we're going to continue, promoting our products, and it's going to get better and all this other stuff. It's like, quite literally, you have to not support the rest of the releases, physical or digital, coming straight from them. Quite literally. It has to be bled dry right now. They tell you it starts in 2028. Your response is, I'm not going to let you get to 2028. That's the real response. Will the people do that? Probably not. Probably not, and they know that. That's why they respond the way that they do. When Xbox had their Xbox Live thing, where it was just like, we're gonna literally double the price. When the internet jumped on them, Xbox folded that same day, right? We saw them fold that same day. They came out with some statement, was like, listen, we missed the mark, blah 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 blah, and they backtracked on that, but then went into Game Pass little by little and tried to drip feed it for a while until we got the Asha girl there who cut it back down maybe about $10. But they folded right away. PlayStation right now is saying they're calling your bluff. That's what they're saying. When they threw that fight stick out there, they said we are calling your bluff, basically. That is calculated. They waited 6 days. They could have just threw that out right away. They waited 6 days. So you would literally have to respond by just saying, okay, I'm not playing anything else over here. I'm not touching the system no more. You don't get, because they track a lot of stuff. They track playtime hours. They track, the sales you made. There was an influx of people who had just bought Call of Duty on there. I think it was Black Ops 1 and Black Ops 2, which was all digital, apparently. And this was right after the physical thing. When people change their tune that fast, it's like, well, they're not, that talks. Money talks, right? So a lot of people, Call of Duty is still a monster in itself, but that did not help the physical media case. But buying the other thing is not going to help it either. You would want to just buy physical games, but not PlayStation. You literally want to, and then like for the people who are making these videos, keep making the videos, but you explain that you don't, I'm protesting by buying your physical. No, you got to cut them off. That's exactly what you got to do. You have to tell them you will not make it to 2028. Be serious about it. You won't make it to 2027. You got 5 months. If everybody stopped buying on PlayStation, would they make it to 2027 right now? Really think about it. If you stopped buying from Sony, would you make it from 2020? They wouldn't. But go ahead. What are you going to say?
I was going to say, the part of the issue, though, is there are a significant amount of people that are just like, oh, it doesn't matter to me, so they're going to continue. And then there's going to be more people who are like, well, we're trying to protest, but clearly it's not going to work. So then they're just going to kind of give in as well.
I mean, the Steam is an elephant in the room in its own right, because yes, it's not a physical, or a PC, I should say. PC in general is not a physical disc machine. Nope. Nobody's build has PC disc anymore. I've seen somebody make an argument that you can get a GOG game and then you can actually burn it to a disc, and it's like, who's gonna burn it to a disc, right? I'm gonna be honest with you. Before we even got to this situation, with the issue with the physical disc, that actually was one of the catalysts that was pushing me off their product. It made me more interested in the PC, because you were telling me to buy a $10 upgrade for everybody who is going to buy those physical games. The Kratos game, or Kratos, what is her name? LaFay. You buy that game disc wise. They come out with a PS6, they're going to tell you, all right, well, you got to pay another $10 or $20 to upgrade it. That's what they're going to tell you. Or that thing doesn't have a disc drive at all, is that's what everybody's saying. So if you want to play the PS6 version on that platform, you got to buy it again, full price. Yep. You don't even buy the $10 version at that point, because they don't have the disc drive. And I don't think a lot of people was talking about that part. But if they come out with a PS6 and they don't have a disc drive, it don't matter what PS5 version game you bought that was a physical disc, all of that is cut off. and you gotta rebuy that game again, and you know doggone well they're gonna make a PS6 version. They spent this whole generation making duplicate games. They kept doing it.
Yep.
And that for me was what really drove me away, because I was just like, well, I go to the PC side, and you just fire the game up and do whatever you gotta do in your settings based on your rig, and you just play, because it's based on what you have. They were telling me basically with the PS5, even though I had the game and the PS5, I still need to buy some form of an upgrade from them. I was done then. I still played on. I mean, I still own the stuff. I still play on it. We still play on it. But I was done then. I was literally done there. I was just like, what? Because it was ridiculous to me. It's still ridiculous to me. But now they turned around. They did it the other way and saying, well, you just can't have a disc at all. But for me, even if they gave you the disc, they was gonna literally tell you, for all the games that you bought on PS5, when the PS6 comes out, you got to buy it again anyway, including disc. Which was ridiculous to me. I was done with that. So no, starve them out. If you care that much, starve them out. Don't buy the Jello game. What is it called? LaFay. With a Jello, and I'm still like that stood out to me for a second, and I was just like, why did they do that? Because that just lost me. But it makes it so much worse after all of this. Because I'm like, okay, are your games even holier than thou? Like, why am I going through all this trouble? And this is the creativity that you come up with. And they did that to God of War. A talking piece of Jello with a sword in it. No. And I'm sitting over here doing that for this type of game. No. And then I gotta buy the game again. Everybody need to understand, every title you own right now on PS5, they are absolutely going to tell you you need an upgrade for PS6. Absolutely. And the key thing about it is, everybody's trying to buy physical, right? Yeah, you're going to have to buy the whole thing all over again. And it's like, I don't even know what the upgrade would be. It would be something really silly. But because the Last of Us one was really silly. It was like, here's this mercenary mode or something like that.
Yeah, I was gonna say pull a Spider-Man where they just look slightly different.
It's silly. That stuff is. They did that with the Last of Us 1 too, and I think the PC version was like terrible at launch and stuff. They ran to the PC side and then came back from the PC side simply because they were not making enough money, right? This has been an ongoing thing. They need to understand, when they understand this, everything will be back to normal. And that is just simply, you are not going to make money in the same generation. We explained this with Persona 5. It took the 5th game, which is still a spinoff, it's like 8 or 9 games in, for people to actually like this series and then go back and look at the other ones. Elden Ring is peak Souls games. It revolutionized this entire generation. Once Elden Ring came out, that's when everybody went back and said, oh, Bloodborne is holier than thou. Dark Souls 1, 2, and 3. Demon Souls. Sekiro. Look, you see how many games that is? Oh, what's this Armor Core game that you got that's going along with this? And Elden Ring got this other DLC. It's like, it takes 6 or 7 games for them to do that. Multiple generations. Some of that stuff started on PS3.
And now they'd be like, 1, canceled.
It's not, you're not gonna make the game or make the money. Oh, it was so silly too, because I'm into investing and stuff, right? I know they say the poor man's investment to $1 million is to go invest into a mutual fund and hold it for 30 years. After 30 years, here's your $1 million, right? I think the same thing is present in gaming, because when we look at a lot of these franchises, they're pushing like 30 years. I think Super Mario is like 40 years strong now. It's like, Like you had to put in some real time for some of these games. We didn't see a Donkey Kong game for a long time, and then they finally came out with one, right? All these games that they call remakes. These remakes are all based on games 20 plus years ago and stuff, right? All of those ports that you see under the Switch titles and stuff, or the Switch directs and stuff, a lot of them are 20 plus years and stuff. It's like these guys need to understand, for some investor who has all this money, who's like a 50 plus year old executive, it's like, bro, this money that's gonna come in gaming is not gonna be in your lifetime. Maybe your grandkids might see the money, but you are not going to see it. Everybody who's sitting there, that's a Vince McMahon in those in the suit and tie, demanding money from gaming right now, is not going to get it. They're not going to get it. The LaFay game is, game number 7 or 8 or something like that. Like Call of Duty, how many Call of Duties have they had so far?
Man.
GTA is the 6th game. Yes, it's about to take over the world. If you
include online.
Yeah, like these titles have to last a long time. The original ones are coming from like early 2000s.
Let's throw another one in there. Witcher 3. Right? Witcher 3 is now like they're releasing new DLC for it now. Witcher 4 is coming out eventually. Ain't nobody talking about Witcher 1 and 2.
Yeah.
Right? It's until 3 for people to be like, let me jump into this world. Elder Scrolls, it took till 5 before people said, let me jump into this world. And now you got ESO. People were looking bad to re-release 4, right? But 1, 2, and 3 are still disappeared, and 6 is coming out. But it was 5 that got everybody to jump in. It took forever to come out.
The thing about it is, some of them are just they're not being realistic when they're talking about, the type of money that they should make. So like with a game having all those different years of title releases and memories and stuff, when they throw the $70 or $80 price tag on it, it's like, yeah, that's a lot, but there's a whole history backing it that says it's worth it. When you throw a new game out there like Sorrows, for example, the reason it did 300,000 and not the rest is because it has no long-term backing. You have one game under Housemarque that was called Returnal, and that was from 2021. You got like 4 years, 5 years of gaming in that. That's nothing compared to 30 plus years of Pokemon, 40 plus years of that, 40 plus years of Super Mario and stuff like that. So those games, even if you consider them overpriced, they've paid their way a little bit. They have a lineage. They have a whole, like, when you got a game that's brand new for $60 or $70, $70, $80 right now, and you also have an earlier title that's on an emulation device that you could put in your pocket, it's like that game has been out there, or that franchise has been out there for a really long time at that point. You know what I mean? Other than that, like if you got a game like Sorrows, there is no game that's like on an old emulation device that's like retro that we can go back to and say, oh, this is how gaming used to be and stuff like that. It don't have that. So you need they need to understand South of Midnight is not going to do those type of numbers. It's like, it went without saying. It was like, it was fine. It was a nice little title, but it's not going to, it makes no sense to price that anywhere near what a GTA might cost, what a Call of Duty might cost, what a Super Mario might cost. That it don't make no sense. The indie developers understand this. This is the funniest thing is the indie developers understand this, and then they thrive. So Hollow Knight does well. Mina the Hollower does well. Hades does well. Expedition 33 does well. None of these came out at $70. None of these have all this other issues going on with all these crazy companies begging for the money and trying to do all these different things. They simply just have the title out there and you just buy it. Mina the Hollower is like, I think one of the only indie titles I don't have that I plan to get. That game at normal retail is $19.99. It's exactly where it needs to be. Hollow Knight 2 debuted at $19.99. That was exactly where it needed to be, and it got into like the Game of the Year nominations basically. Balatro, I think I forgot how much I paid for that, but I know it was under 20 when I bought that. It's like that game got to the Game of the Year nominations, and a lot of people gravitated towards it after the fact. It's like that makes sense. But if you sitting over here, here's a game is 70 plus, it's not complete. There's DLC created before the full regular game was even like made basically, but we're not going to include it. Now we don't even want to give it to you on disc and all this other stuff. It's like, what do you expect the people to do? And you're sitting here like at the same time of like realistically, because these guys are supposed to be $1 million executives, right? IQ of 300 plus or something, right? That's the way they seem. It's like, can you sit down and really think about this for a second? What would you do as a normal human being? Like, this make common sense? Like, what would you do if somebody told you on this system they cannot come out with any verbiage that guarantees that if you buy the game, it's your game to keep, even at a digital standpoint? And then any of the movies that you bought previously, classic movies that's been, in American culture for probably the last 20 plus years, all of those movies we could just take from you. You get no refund. We take it from you at will. Why would I want to buy your digital game under your platform and you can't even tell me definitively that it's mine? I think the verbiage they were using was you got it right now for the foreseeable future or something like that.
Yep.
Like can you tell me definitively that it is my game?
Like GOG does. GOG does it. Like, you can't say none of us can. If they try to use that as like, oh, we never know. GOG is their whole thing is you buy it, it's yours. They were saying that like before it became an issue elsewhere. Like, that's just their thing. That's what they're so you can do this. That's what's crazy. I don't know, it's just that thought process. It's just we can just take things away, and it's just you go, well, you know what? I could have pirated it.
Yeah.
But you know what I'm going to do instead? I'm going to buy this movie on the console and everything digital, solely because I want to watch this tonight and I don't feel like getting out of bed to go get a DVD. So I'm just going to go ahead and buy it. Cool. It's yours now. It's something that I want to watch every once in a while. And then you come in and it's like, you actually don't own this. We're going to take it. And then you're like, all right, fine. Well, then I want to get it physical. Oh, sorry. We don't take physical anymore. Well, then I'm just going to go ahead and pirate it then, like I was originally going to do. That's stealing. And it's like, what? That's why everybody keeps saying if buying doesn't mean owning, then pirating doesn't mean stealing.
So the Xbox footage is officially over, so I'll say this and then we'll move on. So emulation, at the end of the day, I always just go back to emulation because no one can really say anything if I just have this on this literally the tiniest flash drive ever. Will have millions of titles, right? You are going to make people do that. And that reminds me of one of the last points that I have on this is Sony has woke the bear. And what I mean by that is it was actually brought to my attention that the internet has already started a PS5 emulator for PC. And it looks like they got some progress on this already. It was funny because there was a PS4 emulator that they pretty much stopped, and it made sense because all of a sudden all the PS4 games was getting ported to PC. So it was like, okay, it doesn't really make too much sense to do this. But now that they had went backwards and then done this, Well, now they have a PS5 emulator that they're working on, and I can imagine that probably by the time you get to PS6 officially, some of this stuff will probably be in a playable state, because they were already doing that for Bloodborne. That was like one of the main games that they did it for. And then they kind of just stopped because it looked like Bloodborne was going to be a game that was going to be stuck on the PS4. Whenever that happens, the PC community comes together and does this type of thing anyway. It's almost like it's a sport to them. For some people, it's a sport. For some of them, they feel like they're probably a superhero by doing this, but they will find a way, and they are going to do that right now. And they can only be Sony can only be mad at themselves for when they accomplish their mission, because they will accomplish their mission. They've done it for so many other generations. But yeah, that's the thing. They're not going to make the money that they want. And it's kind of goofy because now you've backed yourself into a corner, because now every system is pushing $1,000. And not only that, you're going to raise the price of PS Plus at some point. And then you've taken away the physical media because you're trying to force the profit. You are not going to force the profit. Your margin is either going to stay where it's at, or your margin is going to decrease because you've now cut out even more of your own player base. It's like it literally is going to stay where it's at. You have to wait the 20 to 30 years to see profits coming from so many other franchises. They have to literally be a franchise. It's like, what's a franchise if it's only one title? It's like, it's not really a franchise at that point yet. A franchise is like, okay, you got a title. That title has spun off into t-shirts, posters, books, fan art. You know what I'm saying? It's like, it's a franchise at that point. We got a movie adaptation, live action. We've got like, YouTube fan art stuff. It's like, now it's a franchise. Everybody is supporting it as a brand. That takes time. They're not allowing things to take time anymore. This has always been their biggest flaw. PlayStation and Xbox within this generation has gone all over the place. It was like, okay, we'll sell our games here. Oh no, we're not going to do that anymore because it didn't work. We'll create this thing, and oh, that didn't work. Here's a whole bunch of microtransaction live service games. Oh, those didn't work. It's like, if you had just stayed the course with your same single player games the entire time, you would have been fine. Somebody the age of Jim Ryan or Phil Spencer, you were not going to see any more profits in your lifetime, and that's probably why they're not there anymore. But like a Asha Sharma, she looks young. She looked real young. She got until she's probably Hillary Clinton's age, to really be in the business, and then she might see some profit, but literally nobody's seeing it within the next 4 or 5 years. I don't know, like, now I'll transition to Xbox. How did any of them think that buying Call of Duty for $70 million, how did any of them think they were going to make that money back in the same generation, bro? It's like, bro, it's
no idea.
4 years at most. I think we were talking about this. They spent the first 2 years of it in court. They didn't even get to do nothing with it. How do you think you was going to make there? This is the idiotic thing about it, was you're not going to make the money in the same generation. Phil Spencer's plan was not a bad plan, as long as they understood they weren't going to make the same money in the same generation. Like to buy that and throw it in the Game Pass and then double the price of Game Pass over time, you thought that was going to do it? Like, are you kidding me? It was one title. And the people were used to just buying that one title and not playing a title like this. Call of Duty players are not going to play what's on the screen unless they just really want to. But if you are Call of Duty first, this game probably does not appeal to you at all. You know what I'm saying? But Clair Obscur did it it did its job as an individual title. It did its job with Game Pass, but that's a game that was in Game Pass for a season. I don't know if it's still in there, but I played it. I got my footage and everything, and then I moved on. These people need to understand that a game like this is not designed. It's designed to do well for its own right. And then this game has the ability to be a franchise if it wants to be. Or it can just be a nice piece of art where it's one and done. I actually would like for it to just be one and done. And then the company just moves on to something else. But it's just they need to understand they're not going to make the same money. Asha Sharma basically said recently that Phil Spencer had bought too many studios and was kind of blaming him for that. And I don't think that, I actually disagree with her on that. I don't think the amount of studios mattered. That didn't matter. What mattered is they did not give it enough time to be a franchise. These studios were going to thrive over the next 20 years. But, you know, trying to look for $70 billion worth of profit spread out over all these studios or just under Activision was not, that doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense at all. That was not going to happen. We didn't even get the full generation. But it's like, any big moves, you got to at the very least give it a full generation's worth of time before you start to see the benefit from it. I think that should be fair to say. Yeah. It's just kind of it's kind of goofy. Under Xbox, the main thing I did want to mention was just there's rumors that they're going to come out with some sort of disc to digital solution within the next week or two. I still don't know what that means, but it sounds like they're saying, the way I perceive it is, if I put a disc into the system, they'll give me a digital copy of it, but the second my disc goes into somebody else's system, my digital copy goes away. But as long as nobody else uses that disc, I don't have to keep putting the disc in more than one time, and I can use it across any Xbox device, which may include PC. I'm assuming.
That just lets you be lazy.
I'm assuming that's what that means. Because other than that, I don't know, like, what's the point of disc to digital? Because it was already disc to digital. All of them are disc to digital because you need a day one patch for everything. Like, I don't know what the framing is for that. But if they're telling me, because Xbox has this thing where if you bought a game on Xbox, you now have the PC version. And I think that's excellent. That's like one of the best things they came up with. Because yes, I could literally have a physical Xbox disc and then put it in the system and then play the game on PC. I'm assuming with this new thing that they're talking about. But also, if you have just the digital version on Xbox, you automatically have a PC version as well. I can turn on any one of these little devices that I have, whether it was the headset, a handheld, or the tower, and just play it. I'm like, okay, that's great. That's great. But apparently they got this other solution that they're going to work with. I believe they said it should be announced as early as next week. They usually announce one thing per week for Xbox, and they actually did not do nothing this past week. As far as like little things happening on Xbox, which is usually like, this is coming to Game Pass, that type of thing. And I think it's because they're gearing up for this big announcement. Apparently, the digital game apparently can also be transferred from one account to another. So that also sounds like to me that they're saying we can trade digitally, possibly, or I can just give you the game.
Interesting. So like Steam.
Apparently. So they have a solution to this whole problem that PlayStation has, I guess. At the end of the day, it's still a digital version, but your license to that game can still be sold, is what they're saying. So we'll see what that means. At the end of the day, I'm actually at the point where I don't really see myself trading anything really back in, but I do still want to see what they do here. Outside of that, Xbox does still have their bad side of the news. So people were calling it the bloodbath, where they were firing a bunch of people. So it was about 3,200 people that was quote unquote laid off. But what's really actually happening is it's a spinoff where they're getting ready to have these people be independent. They'll run on their own. Maybe they can get picked up by somebody else that's bigger. Embracer Group is still one of the biggest publishers, which does have GTA underneath them. So, maybe they can pick them up if that's the case. Or maybe these people just come out with their own little titles that they wanted to come out with, like the fighting pottery game or whatever. And the people who actually want to play it can just play it, and it'll be an indie thing, and that's fine. I think I saw in your list of topics, you were saying no Blade game ever. You want to elaborate?
Yeah, so basically once they started kind of, firing people, which, again, I think I mentioned to you that while, it's always sad to see people get fired, the fact that they kind of was like, we're going to have to let these people go, but we're still going to support them for their next project, like whatever was announced. We're not going to be the reason why that doesn't come out. And we're still supporting them. We're going to turn them into indie. Like, this way now you can kind of do your own thing. I'm for it, even though it is sad. But, of course, a lot of studios are trying to say that, like, now we don't know if our thing is going to come out because we lost a publisher or we don't know what's going to happen down the line. Well, right away when everybody was let go, the developers for the next Blade game were basically like, well, now we're up in the air. And I just think it's crazy how... It just seems like every time something Blade related is happening, he keeps getting in limbo and then canceled. So that happened with the movie, that happened with this, and it's weird to me because the premise of Blade is not that difficult. It's just superhero with sword fight vampires. Like, I don't think it doesn't have to be that elaborate. No one's looking for some deep personal meaning. Nobody's looking for the level of, like, backstory that you get in, like, Sinners. It's just... man fight vampires is all we want. They just keep going, yeah, we can't make it. We can't figure it out. So we lost it in movie form, and we're probably going to lose it again with the game as well. Which already it looked like it wasn't coming out, and now it just looks like they're looking for other excuses to be like, yeah, we can't release.
I disagree a little bit. I don't think that it's just not going to come out. And I can explain it with one particular title, and that's Silent Hill. At one point, there was the quote-unquote legendary game developer by the name of Hideo Kojima, who came out with this particular demo called PT. And this was so critically acclaimed, apparently. It was just such a thing that people just thought it was like one of the greatest introductories to a horror game ever. And then they lost some sort of license, some sort of agreement, and then they just could not finish the game. And then Hideo moved on to doing Death Stranding, if I'm not mistaken. And then the main character from that game, which is also the dude who plays in The Walking Dead, was initially supposed to be in the PT as well, which I think was playable teaser, I think is what it was initially called. So that was a thing for most of that generation, the PS4 generation, that you couldn't, they delisted PT. Some people still have it. There were people who remade it on PC, that type of thing. But Silent Hill was considered dead at that point, right? And then out of nowhere, there was just this random company that everybody identified as a scammer who came out with some sort of teaser, and he was like trying to promote his game. Everybody thought it was a Silent Hill game. It became like some sort of conspiracy-ish type thing too. It was a really goofy moment in gaming. This was like really, really closer to like 2020, I think. 2020, 2021. And then eventually he died out, and nobody cared about his game. And then lo and behold, a whole nother studio, or actually the same studio that was working with Kojima, but just not with Kojima anymore. They finally announced their actual Silent Hill 2 remake, right? And then almost immediately they had Silent Hill F, and then Silent Hill, I guess Townfall is the new one now. And it was just like we went from basically a generation of not having it, everybody assuming that we'll never get it, and the main director moving away from it and the main actor moving away from it. So all of a sudden they got like 3 different games, by a whole nother studio that just kind of popped out, right? And then there's Silent Hill. And Marvel is a big franchise. They really can just hand the franchise to somebody who has a little bit more stability. It sounded like at one point Xbox had the stability, and they still do. They just chose not to keep the studio. So maybe they just hand that mantle over to, Embracer Group or something, and somebody comes out with the title. It's just going to take out a little bit longer, but I think it'll still come out based on the type of history that we've seen with Silent Hill and a few others, where it was just like that. You know what I mean?
That'd be nice. I still don't think so. I think the world just hates Blade for some reason.
I don't know. Shout out to Blade. All right, this is kind of long-winded, so we can move forward a little bit. When Xbox comes out with that announcement officially, we'll report on it. But at the end of the day, if you own a Series X, you probably, especially with the climate that we're in, you're probably wanting to keep your disc. You're not looking to do all this other stuff. But it probably it might benefit you to not have to keep throwing the disc in there 24/7. And I don't know what else is coming from this, but we will see. Phil Spencer is long gone. Asha Sharma is here. The only other thing that came out for her that kind of alarms me a little bit, apparently she also just took a second job where she's like a federal something. I forgot what they said, but it had something to do with like jobs and stuff. It was like she took another job with the federal government. And I'm like, okay, at this point I was just like, all right, she kind of young and she came out of nowhere. Is this an industry plant? Like, is she a double, like I don't know. Like, is she just a face at this point? Because I know I'm not really that big on too many conspiracy theories that have to do with politics, but I know there's a crowd of people who feel the same way about. It's 2 chicks out there in the political world. One of them is Candace Owens, and then what's the name of that other girl? I can't think of her name. It start with an A.
Give me a political alignment.
She was I remember when they stormed the Capitol, she made a video afterwards where she said she was scared. Oh, what was her name, bro? She's not white. I think she might have a different descent, but she has like black hair, black eyebrows, whatever her name is, AO something. But
AOC?
That might be. Yeah, but it's 2 young women in that world. Probably.
Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez?
Probably, yeah. It might be her. But it's like these are 2 young ones where it's just like you mad young and you just came out of nowhere and you hold really high positions. It's like, and I've noticed the industry kind of does that with them, not taking too much away from them as far as their own actual skill and ability. It's just when a normal person goes through certain ranks, they don't just jump to the top like that immediately. You know what I'm saying? Like, so, so yeah. But at the end of the day, the people have the last say. And the reason why I say that is because you have the ability to simply not buy or buy into their shenanigans. You don't have to buy, you don't have to feel like you're forced into anybody's ecosystem, you know, and honestly, everybody, let's be frank, we're all the games are a shell of their former selves. They all are selling whatever they're selling because of what they've done in the past. But when we're talking about the best games from the past, they're all on emulation anyway. Everybody else is trying to make a quick buck off the remake of the game. But you can go just play the actual game on emulation. Vote with your wallet. I'm right there with everybody. Yes, you need to read the fine print with a lot of this stuff. Shout out to Attack on Titan. I was actually going to get to the point at one point where I was going to buy the full DVD or Blu-ray set of the whole thing because I didn't want to try to find it on the internet because it was just too many discs. But I was going to buy the disc version of that. I'm not buying no digital version of a movie under nobody's system. I'm just not. I want to get on to some of the other topics, but I do want to mention one other thing that was brought to my attention recently that is kind of in line with what we're talking about, but slightly out. It's not gaming, but I think it's important. Walmart. Walmart has announced that they are going to be moving towards, and this is going to happen apparently this year, towards December or the holiday season. Of course, it's going to be the holiday season. But they're going to move towards a thing that they call digital pricing. And what that means is all the price tags that you see on when you go into Walmart are actually going to be replaced with a little like LED type strip where the prices can change on the fly. And what people were saying is that they could change the price, like let's say they know it's heavy traffic in the actual Walmart at the time, so they might raise the prices of everything by 30 cents to $1 because there's a lot of people in there. Or
that's horrible.
So that's a thing, yes. So that's gonna happen as early as this holiday season. And it does mean that it's actually more than just gaming, but gaming prices are supposed to be fixed, but we might see that change as well. But if you guys depend on Walmart for essentials, you might want to rethink that. I'm actually already starting to rethink that, and go to some of the smaller grocery stores and then some of those little Dollar Tree things, where those things ain't $1 no more either. But yeah, they have the ability to do that. They will have facial recognition software in their cameras as well for certain things as well. So they're gonna actually track and do certain things. So it's interesting to see. But let's say you go in there and you're one of the only people on there, and they have enough data on you to say, well, you paid this price before and our prices are lower right now. We can go based off of your purchases and your history and set the price back to the higher price that you've paid before, even though we currently have a lower price in the store. It's a whole thing. Go look at the news on that. It's a whole thing. But yeah, Walmart is going to set dynamic prices, apparently similar to what we was talking about with PlayStation, where if one person was looking at their app, the price for them might be different. Like the price for me might be different for the price for you.
Yep.
So that's going to be a thing at Walmart apparently. And that's crazy, right? I can't believe that.
That's insane.
Yeah. Any thoughts on that before I move forward? Anything you want to say?
It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Sorry, I sneezed. It's ridiculous. Like, what are we coming to that just like, it's just every single move that it seems like every single thing makes is just greedy and anti-people. Like, I think you're right. It has to be mom and pop shops. You have to just give this stuff up. They're trying. It's like they're pushing to see what they can get away with in every moment, and it's just like you gotta like just fight it. Like this is insane.
Yeah. So, yeah, you have to vote for with your wallet, that type of thing. Um, and yeah, stand up to anything you don't agree with, that type of thing. Um, that one is alarming to me. I go into Walmart a lot, probably a little too much. Um, but I might slow it back down once I start to see that. There has been some times where I've actually, with the paper price, by the way, it's happened actually today. The price on the shelf said one thing, but when I got to the checkout, it was like $1 more, and they thought I wouldn't notice. Like that's happened a lot in Walmart. It happens also in this other store called Myers. Um, the way around it with the checkout people, and it's like it's crazy because like you don't want to have to keep doing this, but you have to literally take a picture of it while you're at the shelf. So when you get to the checkout, you tell the person, "Hey, look, I just took this picture right now. This is what it shows." And then they'll see that, and then they can call a manager over to adjust it. But who wants to do that every single time, right? It's crazy. It's a crazy thing in itself, and it kind of made me stop wanting to go to some of them stores sometimes because it's the principle of it. It's like, do you really need to squeeze that extra dollar out of me? Like, did you really need that extra dollar? Yeah. So. We'll move on. Let me do the. We went way too long. Let me do the what do you call it? Epic Games. Epic Games gives out free games. Interesting enough. You know what I thought at one point? What if they just came and said, "Okay, we've taken all this back. This ain't actually yours no more. Like all the games, it's just no more. It's no longer yours. It's just." It was yours. We lied. It was only temporary. You didn't read the fine print.
It'd be hilarious. Yep, fine print.
Didn't read the fine print or something. All right. Well, you should be able to, claim these titles without having to, set up any type of payment. And then you can play the games on any of your devices that support PC. And the games they have right now, that's available from now until July 16th. One of them is called Nova Lands, and the other one is called Tattoo Tycoon. That's available from right now to July 16th. I don't know too much about it, but go check them out. From July 16th to July 23rd, you can take advantage of a game called Echo Generation Midnight Edition. I don't know too much about that either, but you can go check that out. You could also check out a game called Lutu. I don't know too much about that either. Lutu. So check that out. All of that is from July 16th to the 23rd. Or those two were. Any sales, anything in the Amazon world?
Yeah, actually. Hold on, I gotta pull it up. But right. Amazon announced their games for July. Out already. You got Cyclones, Lone Star, which was given away for Epic, and I actually been playing it. It's actually a pretty cool, decent game.
Okay.
You're like in a ship, and it's almost like a fusion of like a deck builder, sort of, where you equip like different equipment to your ship, and you're kind of in battles, and your deck building is you're pulling like points, and you have to assign points to try and like outbeat the other person and everything. It's been pretty cool. Then Symphony of War, the Nephilim Saga. Then available. Yeah. Also available Still There and Regular Factory Escape Room. And then later this month, Polyvita Framed Collection, Escape Academy, In Sound Mind, Mystic Academy, Zoria Age of Shattering, and Weakless. So those would be the games for PC. From Prime.
All right. I did have one little announcement regarding Sonic Crossworlds. You know that little racing game that had like 1,000 people in it. So they announced that they're gonna have a season 2 pass with a bunch of different things in there. But I wanted to shout out one of my favorite characters of all time, and that's Godzilla. Apparently, Godzilla will be in this game. He's not gonna be one of the people you race with, from my understanding. Obviously, he's a big Titan-sized monster. He gonna be in the background, blowing his beams and stuff. Maybe he'll take a swipe at you every now and then. So he gonna be in the boards basically. But Godzilla's gonna be in the Sonic Cross Worlds. That is a game that I do want to get at some point. I don't have it right now. I'm kind of waiting for them to have like some sort of Ultimate Edition, like once they finish all of the stuff. Because I'm not really too concerned with just racing a bunch of people online. I just want to enjoy the characters. Joker is in there from this footage. This is Persona 5 Tactica. This is your footage too.
I love that game.
I just want to mention too, we probably got to start wrapping up soon because if I remember correctly, this is the last footage and it was only 15 minutes.
Oh, yeah.
But let's move forward then. So, did you see the Splatoon Raiders Direct?
I watched it and completely forgot it. Like, it kind of just went in and out of memory. It was just kind of there.
Okay. I guess you could argue that's one of the more positive things. It was just simply, here's the game. I did rewatch it recently. Or actually watched it for the first time, I'm gonna be honest, right before we started. I mean, it is what it is. I'm not that big on Splatoon. I did not play the other games at all, not even like in the stores or nothing.
Yeah.
But if I was to choose to play one of Splatoons, I would probably go directly with this one. I'm gonna have to take a look and see, is there like a decent amount of single player content? Because I don't see myself really trying to get into this online.
Raiders was a single player. I thought that was the focus.
That's the focus.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll look into it. I'm not really. I'll look into it. I will still say, because I told you right before we went on air, the commentary talking to me like a third grader, it still irks me so much. I would have actually paid more attention and been more excited about it if they didn't do that. It's just, they got to find a better way to do that on the Nintendo platform, bro. It's like you got a bunch of 30 and 40 year olds watching this, and then like everybody's talking to you like you 4 years old. It's like, come on, bro. There's no kids looking at this. It is what it is. So I'll just mention that real quick. I do also want to mention also real quick, there was an announcement, or not an official announcement, but it was brought to the Nintendo World's it was brought to their attention that a 2D Metroid game was leaked out into the into the news. Like, we don't actually know any of the main details. All we know is that it's supposed to be a 2D Metroid game that they're working on. I'm excited to see them keep this franchise going, because Metroid was always known as being a game that was not really following the overall theme of Nintendo, and so their sales, sort of was less than what they would want. But to see them actually keep that franchise going, that brings joy to me, because I do support Metroid. I do have the Metroid games, and I am still actively playing through them. So I just wanted to mention that real quick. And I think we're done with the Nintendo stuff. Oh, no, we're not. No, we are not. I gotta mention one thing. Because I'm actually excited about this game a little bit. Palworld apparently has released what they are calling Palworld 1.0, the update.
Yep.
Have you heard about this Palworld this update?
I sure have.
And then I guess also with it is more updates coming from this so-called lawsuit that they had, which seems like it is heavily not in Nintendo's favor, to the point where I think Nintendo, they at one point they were projecting that they might get 60 grand out of this, which is crazy low when you really think about how much they like tried to
Yeah.
get from so many people. But then that report said it went from that to like 30 grand. So it's like it's a drop in the bucket for what they probably was looking for. But overall, they did not destroy Palworld. Palworld is alive and well. The mechanic of throwing the Pokeball kind of thing and catching the Pokemon. So it was also brought to my attention that even though they had took that out initially, modders had actually put it right back, and they were showing like if you go under Steam, you can see basically what to do to put it back in the game anyway. It was already there, but then now officially, I think that's no longer something that the franchise has to worry about. So Splatoon is alive and well. Not Splatoon. Power World is alive and well. And then you can still play. You could play the game how it was intended. With this 1.0 thing. Funny enough, whenever you see 1.0, you think that's the initial build, and usually when you see people do patches and stuff, they say the 2.0 or 1.3, whatever it is. But
Yeah, I think it's because the other one was still supposed to be the whole what's that called? When it's like the release before its official release.
Yeah.
I can't remember the word for it, but like a lot of Steam games are in that format sometimes. So yeah, that's why they officially call this. Is like we finally got it to go on other stuff. But yeah,
I look forward to playing this on PC. Actually, I do look forward to that. Because on top of that, like putting some of the original stuff together, they also had enough time to work through kinks, patches, any glitches if they ever had any or whatever. It's like the game is actually where it needs to be. It's like in one of its final states, right? So I look forward to jumping in and seeing what that's about right now. All right, tell me about Assassin's Creed. What's going on? What you want to talk about when it comes to Assassin's Creed?
Assassin's Creed released Black Flag Resynced.
Yep.
Right, and everybody's upset because you had that $70 base game. They had like an $80 or $90 deluxe edition, and the deluxe edition comes with an extra outfit. And then they released 8 more like outfits and ship designs, each one costing $10.
I think I did hear about that. That is crazy.
Yeah, so now it's if you really want everything, including all the outfits. Again, when I've played the old Assassin's Creed games, all that stuff was in the game. But nope, if you want to get it and buy it for the different outfits and everything, it's an extra $80 on top of the $80 to $90 if you spent on the deluxe edition. Because when I saw that, I was like, well, what does the deluxe come with? And it only came with one outfit.
That's silly.
Which is crazy, yep. But that's what they're doing. Ubisoft is just taking more money.
I have the original Black Flag. That was one of the Assassin's Creeds that I bought to play on Series X. I think it was the Xbox 360 version. But Xbox was doing they have this backwards compatibility campaign where you, I guess similar to the disc to digital thing, where they will give you the digital version of like an upgraded game basically. The most popular one that everybody was playing was Red Dead Redemption 1 at the time, but I might actually just play that. I don't. Some of these games, like when I played Alan Wake, the first game, I didn't play that remastered. I played the actual first game because it was already upgraded for me. I don't like some of these stuff unless it's a full blown remake. It's got to be Star Fox remake or Star Fox remake. Like these little ports, man. You got to actually do something with it. You can't just give me a tiny little update. Like that's just not gonna work. I need to see basically reworked from the ground up. It's got to look like Silent Hill 2 now versus the one that was on PlayStation, right? But that's just my thought on that.
I agree.
What's up with what did you want to say about EA Games?
Oh, they in short, they sent out an apology basically because they released College Football 27, and in all the single player modes, they put in pay to win, and like the loot box was also like like you pay to get upgrades and all this other stuff to win, and they got heavy backlash, like heavy, so they removed it all out of there. So they made it to where it's like you don't need to do that stuff to like win, and did a whole like little post apologizing for doing that, but kind of hinted though that it could like come back in the future. The way they put it, they were like, so thank you for your continued support. The live service plans, they have some live service plans that'll be like doled out later, but they're pretty much on some like, we heard your reports from Dynasty mode, so we'll take it back out. Our bad. But it's the first time I've seen EA do that. Usually they just be like, buy it or shut up. So they actually like listen, because they got them heavy complaints. But it doesn't sound like, it sounds like they're going to figure out another way to introduce it without upsetting people, because that's how they get their money.
It's so crazy that this generation has always been a interesting one where the companies seem so desperate to make some money. Like it's just like but it's crazy to me because it's just like is it really that hard for you to just sell a product and then you just make money? Like, can the product, all the product has to do is just be good. Like, take your time and make something good, and then we will come out and buy it. I don't think you need to do all this crazy, jump through hoops and all this other stuff. You don't need to do all of that.
You really don't. You don't.
All right, you put paddle. I don't even know what that means. What's going on with that?
So some Steam dev got mad because he released a game called Paddle, which is like a co-op physics-based, like, you just kind of clumsy game going down a river. And he was getting like good reviews where everybody's like, yeah, this is a really fun game. But like more than almost like half of the players refunded it as well. So they're like, great game, product refunded. And he was looking into it, and basically the game can be beaten in like under 3 hours. Like, it was 2 hours and a little bit of change. So people would get it, play it, was like, it's good, and then refunded it. It was like $5 or maybe up to 15, something like that. It was for sure under 20. But they like refunded it. And he got mad. It was like, people are giving good reviews and it's still refunding the game. And he feels like Steam needs to update their thing to like where people can't just keep refunding that quickly about something that they fully played through. Now, while it is kind of messed up that for this indie dev, people were buying it and then getting their money back after playing it, and it feels kind of bad for an indie person, other people pointed out something very fair in my mind, and they said, well, if you don't want people refunding the game so quickly, make sure your game isn't under 3 hours. And it kind of makes a point that, like, if people can comfortably, not even rush it, but comfortably finish your game and everything it has to offer, because we were like, once you do it, that's kind of it. There's no more real replay value. So it's you fully comfortably finish it in about 2 hours and 15 minutes. And it's like, if you played for less than 3, you get to refund. Well, then they're going to refund it. Like, why should I? I'm not going to play this ever again. And you should have made the game longer. So I feel like there's an argument both ways, and it's kind of messed up, and people are enjoying it. But because he started going online and complaining, and people like, you need to make it longer, and then he doubled down on his complaints. So now the game's getting review bombed. So now it's a bunch of like mixed reviews to negative reviews and everything, where it was all positive. So he messed up by complaining, but it's like, at that point, yeah, I get it, dude, but you got to make your game long enough. Otherwise, what are we doing?
Yeah, make it have some quality.
Or make it free.
Yeah. Well, I think that is the show. Looks like our footage just reset. Yeah, that long show, but a lot of stuff. I think we're going to continue to actually talk about the disc situation overall. The people should have the ability to resell whatever they have. I mean, like it can be as big as a car or a house, or as little as a game. I mean, if I bought a product, I should be able to sell to somebody else. I've seen people at local mom and pops, like restaurants, they would like be in the actual grocery stores, and I recognize them, and they'll have like a cart, like the entire cart would just be cartons of milk. And it's like, of course, if you're a restaurant, you're gonna do that. But like if somebody was just to tell him, well, you can't, you know, buy the milk for that reason, then he's out of business, right? But it's like, but he still bought it, right? And then he should have the right to run his restaurant with whatever he's making with that milk. And other people kind of the same way. I know people who buy just any old product, right? There's plenty of girls who have those curlers and stuff that they buy. They should be able to do people hair in their house if they feel like it, right? All right, we got to get out of here. Like, comment, share, subscribe. I will speak on the PSVR stuff next week. I didn't really, when you have a topic that big, it was like that can be pushed back. I do also want to speak on like Power Ranger stuff as well next week, good and bad. But yeah, we'll talk to you guys later. Please enjoy the summer. Please, peace.